I guess I could just call the meeting to order at, because we do have a quorum and David will be back. And it's what, 7:38?
No. Nope, you are
7:33.
there.
Okay. Yeah, so 7:33. Can't read the clock anymore. Okay, great. So our first order of business is just to review the minutes from our last meeting. So do we have a copy of those? Is this?
Yep, I will pull them up.
Does anybody, oh, you guys don't have any packets. Okay, so maybe everything, oh, sorry, guys. This is usually we have, I think it's because there was another meeting here. Oh. So, just 1 minute while I share packages with you. Sorry about that. I didn't quite grasp. Okay. There you go. And on the top of there, somewhere in that package that I just gave you, is a copy of the draft minutes.
From when?
From
From
2nd.
Wow.
Yep, October 22.
And you were there.
Well, apparently I wasn't. Double work.
Were you? Yeah, that's when we had the show, the rink. People came in.
Oh, yeah.
Doing the maintenance. So I think that was good. Or you were, so can I have a motion to approve the minutes from October 22nd? Can I have a motion? Motion.
Approve.
Yeah, second. So I would say that, was that Rich moving and Lucy seconding? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Okay, so unanimously accepted. So we have like 10 minutes. Is there a 10?
Hang out some, I've got the Hunter person, I'm curious about.
Hmm?
The like Hunter,
Yeah. Up there.
Wolf Swamp, Hunter, Allow.
One of the correspondence signs.
Okay, so should we go to the Wild Swamp hunting? Can you make that a little bigger? That'd be great. Oh, Grace, great. Yeah, so essentially what they're asking for is having no hunting signs, putting, or suggesting that we put no hunting signs on our properties.
Yeah, I feel like that, like I've seen those on other properties or.
I don't think the town has done that.
Okay.
But I know BC Trust does that on their properties. And I know we have.
Yes, I think it was well before your time on the commission. During Charles Salini.
I do, yes.
So when he was on the commission, he was not anti-hunting, but he felt it was really important to put no hunting signs on the commission's properties, which was done. I think they gradually disappeared over the years.
Right.
But the thing I wonder about this, is she sure that it's coming from Wolf Swamp?
I know.
Because that's state-owned land down there. You know, the Delaney Wildlife Management area, and they do allow hunting on that parcel. So I just wonder if she's
But
confusing.
you mean connect from Delaney to Wolf?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
Well, she thinks it's coming from 1414, which is the other direction.
Yeah, right, like behind Holiday Inn.
Well, but I think that is in the direction of the state-owned land. Or maybe it's an easement, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that they do allow hunting, the state does allow hunting.
Because certainly over, because what, down Eldridge, so I think they live on Eldridge Road. Oh, no, Old Harvard.
Old Harvard.
Oh, Old Harvard, but when you get to Eldridge, that's where the Delaney property
It is
is.
closest to Delaney, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but I think that's the Elizabeth Brook Reservoir.
Right, Dave is right.
Um,
It's closer down to Eldridge.
So they are right there. So yeah, so.
Yep.
But they're thinking.
This is town land here, and this is private land here, I believe.
Yeah.
Load and tell us.
All up, on the other side of Hazard Lane is Lincoln Properties, correct?
Yep, correct. 1414.
Well, but she thinks, so she thinks it's coming from that direction.
She thinks it's coming from that direction, correct?
We do also, this is also here conservation land, this parcel.
That's that must be part of Will's
It
song,
must be, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And where are they again?
This
that's on that
specific property that really does jet out into that.
Yeah,
So who owns that right there, those pieces?
who's off to the west, directly west?
This
Yes,
Some farm.
this is private.
yeah, Hoffman, it is that farm, Linda Hoffman.
Oh,
And then there's one just to the north of that.
This one.
Yes.
No
No
parcel
partial
data.
data.
I can speak with our assessor, but I mean, yeah, it looks to be all wetland or water that.
And so what's 17-010? 17 dash, it's just north of where you are.
This one?
There. Yeah, that must be.
Yeah, 1414. So my guess is that all of this, or we know all of this is 1414 here. Not certain about this, and then this here is private as well. So you know, one and two do fall within our jurisdiction here in the red.
But certainly, if it's coming from 1414, the owner has the right to allow people to hunt.
Yeah, but I think her point is that we would make it clear where hunting is not allowed.
yeah.
By posting where our property line is.
So we'd have to know where that is.
Right, that's her point.
Again, I'm not sure that's so easy.
As just as a matter of course, do we post no hunting on the kiosks and all of the Boxborough trailheads?
No.
I don't think so.
We used to. Well, what we used to do is we had a sign saying there's no hunting on conservation land, but there is on private land that may abut. And we had a little list of when the dates were. Yeah, so I actually myself have run into, I had a big incident that was actually written up in Hunter's Weekly. Because I was walking at Steel Farm. And there were two guys behind trees with guns. And one of them yelled out to me, I should be wearing orange because it's hunting season. And I said, well, I'm walking in conservation land. And then they said, well, a bullet don't know that.
Oh my God.
What? Okay.
And then it was after that there was the big push to.
Right.
Wait, Liz, when was that?
Oh, it was like 2004.
Okay.
So it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was wild.
No.
But so they were technically on somebody's property.
They
but
get
they were,
permission.
but they were
We had a friend, we have a deer hunter friend who came over when we first bought our property and he was like, you can't, he couldn't, like, we don't have enough clearance from other houses.
Oh, right.
For him to get a Colonial Ridge a butter's permission for him to hunt on our land.
It's far
It's not
either
worth it,
way
yeah.
from.
Yeah, I think it's pretty hard to do that in most areas, but there are areas, of course, 1414 would be one.
Yeah.
So the thing is, do we think it's worthwhile to look into how
Is this hunting on?
difficult this would be?
Well, I think it's a matter of getting a boundary survey and marking the boundaries. And I think that's good to do for other reasons as well, but it's a little bit of an expense and you have to hire a surveyor. I don't know what else we can do except maybe put something at the trailhead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as sort of best practice, that should just be standard language. Yeah.
Right.
But these people are not on trails. They're actually, what the problem is you're approaching conservation land from a private property with no trails, right? So you're not,
I do get.
you're not encountering I mean, we could do that as well, obviously. But I think that's not what this is about.
It,
Or I'm not sure that would solve what this issue is.
it's a fine line. I would say that it's a good practice to make that part of our standard kiosk posting. Just say, no hunting on Boxborough conservation land. Like this.
I'm sure I still have
Right.
those signs somewhere.
Okay, and in the fullness of time, we could just make sure that gets up, maybe we could give that to, the trail steward team. Hey, guys, would you please post these signs at every trailhead kiosk, and they could just check them off as a background task, right? This boundary survey is kind of a big open-ended task.
Well, it could be. The other thing you could do is you could talk to the owners of 1414, say that there have been, shall we say, concerns expressed, and ask them to post the boundary. You know, they can certainly afford it to, you know.
In 1414, that's that commercial property out there with the photovoltaic arrays behind it.
And also, I mean, do we have to have it on the exact boundary? I mean, could we, post, do you know what I mean?
I think the answer to your question, no, it doesn't have to be, but you have to make some kind of an
Right.
educated.
Right, and you don't think that would be easy?
Okay, so are you saying that somebody like 1414 gave them permission to do that?
Yeah, that's what, yes.
So then they should know who they have given permission to, right? So it sounds like this is a 1414 problem.
I think they're worth contacting because maybe they don't know.
Maybe they don't.
Maybe
Yeah,
maybe they haven't given permission, in which case, they can post their property if they're agreeable. I don't know why they wouldn't be agreeable. Just
Because it's huge liability.
Yeah,
It's a huge liability issue.
Right, okay, so the suggestion is we contact 1414
Yeah.
Yeah.
to the property owner, and just confirm, confirm whether or not they are allowing,
Hunting on their property.
yeah.
And if not, please take appropriate steps.
Right. Right.
And as point two, it's say, see if the trail steward team would, if we could provide them with the no hunting signs for the kiosks, that they get posted. And that could just be one of those checklist items that we revisit in 6 months' time. How many of the trailheads have been covered with?
Yeah, Dave was supposed to be coming, but I guess, I don't see.
Well, and if 1414 says that they have given permission,
Then we need to talk about it.
yeah, either if they're not agreeable to rescinding the permission, then I think it'd be reasonable to ask them to post the boundary. And now that doesn't necessarily stop the hunters from shooting in the direction of this house, but at least they won't go on plan to do it.
Yeah, so Ian, do you think this would be, satisfactory to, is it Vivian?
Yeah, I can reach back out to Vivian Barbadoro, let her know kind of the next steps. I'll also look into the deeds to see if they have anything regarding the boundaries. But yeah, I think reaching out to 1414 owners will probably be our best effort specifically for this. And I think moving forward, thinking about posting it at all of our trailheads on the kiosks, but definitely a best practice, I think.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I am very, I actually like the idea of posting our boundaries with no hunting.
Yeah.
I mean, Stone does it.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I've also been at Steel Farm on the other side, on the Picnic Trust side, which is near Ginny Richardson's property. And there was a guy on conservation land. He thought he was still on Ginny's property.
He wouldn't know that.
And he would not.
Yeah.
He didn't threaten me though, so that was fine. He actually retreated to
They were bullet hunting in a tree. I wonder what something like arrows.
we have bow hunting season, musket and shotgun.
Right, it's bow right now.
Right now it's bow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Liz, I will point out, we have 7:48 now, and
Okay,
we do
sorry.
have Limhoot here.
It's always longer than you think it's going to take. Okay, but I think, so we'll start off with just contacting 1414.
Yes.
See if they're actually allowing it. If they aren't, then let's make them aware and they can do posting. And then I wouldn't mind circling back and talking more about posting our own properties. Trailheads to start off with, but I think a little more widespread, just especially in areas where we know there's a private owner, a butter who does allow hunting, and there could be a conflict. Okay, so all right, well, so that's that. So we will move on at 7:45. We do have a continuation of a notice of intent hearing for 975 Mass Ave, and I think it is.
It is my project. And do I need to read the legal notice?
I think you don't have to read the legal. No, just
Not very continuous.
not for a continuance.
Correct.
Okay.
And I will, so Limhoot, welcome again. This is, I believe, your third hearing before us. I don't know. Let me see if I can.
And we all have the
Limhoot, did you have a presentation for us tonight?
Yes, I do. And
All
thank
right,
you.
wonderful.
And I apologize. I saw your email just about 5 minutes ago.
No, you're good. You had joined a little. It had been 5 minutes past, and I know that I hadn't explicitly confirmed with you, so I just wanted to make sure. But thanks.
Alrighty. Good evening, everyone. For the record, Lim Hotiv. I'm an engineer at Goldsmith Preston Ringwall, GPR for short. I see that we're doing in-person meeting again. I wish I had known. I would have just showed up in person. I much prefer to do that than over Zoom. In any case, let me just do a quick screen share here. Alrighty. Can everybody see the shared screen okay?
yes.
Perfect. So I'd like to go through some of the changes that happened since the last time I was here, which is quite a bit ago. So let me just try to jog my memory, and please feel free to stop me anytime if I'm misremembering something and you'd like me to go back to kind of go over any of these changes.
Why don't you just recap what the project is again? Because it's been a while.
It's been a while, and I'd also like to hear what was approved by the planning board, because that was sort of the big thing that brought you back here, yes?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay.
So I'll just do a brief recap of the project as it is, and then just kind of give a quick summary of what happened during planning board. So alrighty. So let me just scroll down here. The proposed project is a commercial development located at the address 975 Mass Ave. 975 Mass Ave has a intermittent stream that runs, I guess, from east to west on the screen here. That has an associated bordering vegetated wetland that runs along it. The applicant is proposing to construct, let me just scroll down, a commercial building that will have 8 rental units to be designated as building trades for the purpose of renting them out. As the project site is surrounded by wetland and the stream at the front, we're proposing to do a wetland crossing with a stream crossing at the front access here, coming off of Mass Ave. As we're filling in wetland area in this portion here in order to put in this aluminum arch culvert to meet stream crossing standard. We're proposing a wetland replication over on the right-hand side over here, coming off of Mass Ave. This location was recommended and reviewed and ultimately agreed upon between Bill Murray from Places as well as Matt Morrow, our wetland scientist consultant, that this would be a better location for wetland replication due to the fact that we would not need to remove as much material or topsoil to replicate the wetland, and no trees will be removed for that to happen in this area. Previously, that wetland replication area was previously proposed right about here, and ultimately got changed to here. At one point, the driveway access location was actually approximately 50 feet to the, I guess, screen right, right about where my cursor is. This location was peer reviewed and ultimately changed due to concern with offsets to the intersection between Mass Ave and Sarah's Way. And ultimately, when we went back to review the revised location, we also agreed that this is a better location for the driveway access, mainly due to the fact that we were able to meet stream crossing standard with the openness ratio for the arch culvert better at this location, in addition to better line of sight for vehicles traveling on Mass Ave, because not shown here, but off of the sheet at this location here, Mass Ave sort of bends and curve out. So, the closer we are to the, I guess, screen right, the less sight distance we would have. So shifting it screen left, well, 50 feet ultimately worked out better for our Mass DOT access. Right. So to mitigate and to account for the proposed building as well as parking area, driveway access, we're proposing an infiltration basin that's located down gradient of the building at the top. The infiltration basin will provide TSS removal as well as phosphorus removal and provide sufficient storage to reduce the overall site peak stormwater runoff rates up to and including the 100-year storm, therefore meeting the regulation set forth by the Mass Stormwater Handbook. In addition to that, on the screen right here, we have a septic field and septic tank laid out for the proposed building. One of the waiver requests that we're seeking from Conservation Commission is the fact that we're doing grading associated with the breakout grading for the system into the limit of the 100-foot buffer associated with the bordering vegetated wetland that's delineated on the right-hand side over here. Zooming in closer to look at that spot. At the nearest corner, we're approximately 70 feet away between our toe slope associated with the 3-to-1 grading coming down. So 70 feet away from that toe slope to the nearest delineated wetland point. The reason for the waiver is because I believe the Boxborough wetland regs does not allow 100-foot grading into the 100-foot buffer associated with the septic system. The reason why we had to place the septic system here is due to the fact that this is really the only location that we were able to find sufficient depth of pervious, naturally occurring pervious soil in order to site a septic system. All the other areas on site, we either hit ledge, high groundwater, or insufficient depth of naturally occurring pervious material. Just kind of continuing forward here. I believe we talked a little bit about this wetland plan that you see before you here. This plan here just sort of highlights the area that we're filling on the left-hand side here. And the green is what we're proposing to replicate on the right-hand side here with shrub plantings shown here. So we are filling in approximately 980 square feet of wetland area, and we're proposing 1,200 square feet of wetland replication in this area. I believe the regulations calls for a 1-to-1. We provided additional area in the case that if some of the area fail to replicate, to kind of make up for any loss or difference.
So, just a quick question, Lambert.
Yes.
So is that dashed line that goes around the wetland replication area and the temporary construction entrance? That's not all of it is the wetland replication area, right?
No, the dash line is just a limit of work.
Okay. So the wetland replication area does not extend into the Mass Ave right of way.
It does not. It ends at the green dash line over here.
Okay.
The only reason why I left in the darker dash line is just to really provide a computation for the site overall disturbance area. Alrighty. So that's the quick summary of the project. I want to also open up the landscaping plan that was submitted to just kind of show everyone. See here. So this is the landscaping plan that was provided. I know we had a little bit of conversation about the different changes when I first came to the commission to talk about the project. We had located the existing trees just beyond the property line into the property where the existing trail is located, in an effort to try to essentially paint a picture as to what it would look like if you're standing on the trail looking in. We have also provided additional planting all along the stone wall here to sort of fill in the gaps between these existing trees back here. As far as the parking lot itself, we're proposing a bunch of trees kind of surrounding the whole parking lot. In addition to that, we also have a row of approximately 8 to 10 feet tall evergreen tree lined up at the top level in front of where the building is, as well as a row of trees at the bottom in front of where the retaining wall is. And of course, some more trees at along the driveway coming in. And I believe that's really it. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Sure. What was it that was approved by the planning board? I understand that was kind of the thing that brought you back here, right? So what was the significant change there?
So significant change in terms of what relates to conservation or just in general?
Yeah. Well, so something we've had several continuances here, and now we're back, right? So my recollection is one of the sticking points earlier was the septic system itself encroached within the 100-foot buffer zone. And now it appears that the septic system is just outside of it, but it's the grading that encroaches in. Did I?
Well,
I think it always was the grading.
It was always the grading.
You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it ever was any part of the system itself.
that is correct. The septic system has always been outside of the 100-foot buffer as required per Title V.
So then So then are you seeking a waiver from Conscom to allow the grading to be within the 100-foot
Yes.
buffer zone?
Yes.
That is correct. Yep.
And that is not something that would have come from the planning committee.
No, they don't care.
Okay.
Either the planning board or the board of health, I think would have flagged that.
Okay. So then, is that the principal ask that you have at this time for that waiver?
Right, and then the crossing with the offset on the wetland application.
Yes, we've seen that. I believe we've seen that offset presented before.
But this is a new location, correct? They just,
I think we've seen that before.
I believe-
Yes.
I believe the last time that I was here, I believe Madam Chair was not here for the presentation.
oh, that's fine.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry about that, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
that's right. And likewise, you know, the idea of moving the entrance 50 feet, I guess westward, is, it seems like all to the good, right? As I recall from the entrance there, you're going to lose some trees regardless because of the, just how heavily forested it is there right along.
That is correct. I can open up the plan real quick just as we're talking
And-
about that.
Right, and I believe, again, one of the primary motivators for doing this was just to make sure that we had significant offset from adjacent, abutting driveways, right? There's a busy one across the street, for instance.
That is correct. The previous location, if you can see where my cursor is,
Yeah,
these 3 trees right here, they would all have to be removed, as well as this one over here. So I guess a total of 4 large tree near the front right away there, versus the 2 that we're taking out over here.
okay. And so the big ask then of this board is for the waiver for the grade, is that right?
That
Right,
is correct.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
I do have some concerns about the wetland replication area, but I think they are things that can be conditioned. So,
do you think it's too close for a runoff from the?
yeah, that is, my primary concern is that if you look at the grades, which I don't appear to be, changing, from existing grades, it looks to me like the runoff comes right off the pavement, go right down into that wetland replication area. What do you think, Lynn?
So I want to I believe you brought this up during the last meeting as well. So I kind of went back to take a look at the actual temporary construction detail. The concern was that, this temporary construction pad that we put in for the replication would potentially bring in or I guess fasten the water flow coming down towards the replication area. So as far as the temporary construction entrance, let me just scroll to the detail. Typically, what is done for these sort of construction entrance is that you create a diversion ridge. So I don't know if you see my mouse cursor over here at this location here. So as water would come down, there's a diversion ridge created within the actual apron itself to kind of carry water back to where the grass is, to allow it to kind of continue to go on the grass as it does in this, I guess, natural state.
But even after the temporary construction entrance is removed and the area restored, it's gonna go back to the original grade, correct?
That is correct.
Which is what is being shown on the plan right now, at least on the grading and drainage plan. So the way it looks to me is right now the runoff is flowing off of the Massat pavement going right down into that area where the wetland replication is proposed, or is there something I'm missing?
No, I believe you're right. And oh, I'm sorry. I believe the discussion that was had last time is that this area here in particular, because there's no curbing, there is a slight berm along this edge here that sort of
Yeah.
kept water on the pavement and allowing it to kind of continue down. I believe that was the discussion that was had. I did go back to check that area. I wish I took some pictures, but I believe there is a berm, a slight berm there right now to sort of separate the water.
I do recall that from the sidewalk.
But if it's in the right of way, that's something that the state can alter. If they want to.
So, and the gradient lines, I'm doing a real close look at it. It looks like, there's an edge at the 341 elevation down to 340. And then it drops further into the wetland. What is that, 338? So yeah, there's not much of a berm there. There's like a 1 foot high natural berm there.
I mean, I would be satisfied, putting in a condition that says like a 5-year monitoring period for the wetland replication area. I think that should be long enough to, make an assessment of how, if at all, runoff from 111 is impacting it.
Who would do that monitoring?
It would ultimately, the responsibility would fall on the owner. They would have to hire somebody to do that.
Okay. So
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah, and if it turns out that it wasn't surviving for that reason or some other reason, there's typical language that says that a corrective plan has to be submitted to the commission.
Yeah, I like to say that I believe standard replication has a term limit of like 2 to 3 years, and that varies between town.
That's right, but I think in this case, given the concern, I think it should be 5 years.
I think that's fair. I don't mind that as a condition.
Cool. Now, so does that leak, is that your only,
Well, we do need to talk about the waiver.
well, yeah, I was saying, is that your only concern on the replication area?
Yeah, and that's really my only other concern other than the grading.
Yeah, and yeah, so the grading, okay, so what is a way to get there, to get to a waiver on this?
Well, I think you would have to look at alternatives, if the grading were to go into the buffer zone, what can be done. I think, I'm certainly not an engineer, but I've certainly seen plenty of these plans that I think the only way you could really do that is with a retaining wall.
Yeah, more of a cliff than
Yeah, so Linwood, maybe you could tell us, what a retaining wall would be like. I mean, would it be 8 feet high, 10 feet high? I mean, I think it would be massive, wouldn't it?
It would be a very massive structure. If we were to be denied of the waiver request, we would ultimately extend this retaining wall from this corner, having it wrapped around the entirety of the system. The retaining wall itself, if I'm doing my math correctly, because we're intruding approximately 30 feet into the 100-foot wetland buffer, which means that at a 3-to-1 grading at 30 feet, you're looking at a wall that is approximately 10 feet tall at the edge. Therefore, putting in a 10-foot wall at that sort of length, you ultimately will need to put in some sort of armoring or drip edge along the front of that wall or the bottom of that wall to reduce potential scouring and erosion that will occur at the bottom of that wall. That would be the alternative to the grading that's shown here.
And what would be the length of the wall?
Let me just do a see here. I don't have the measuring tool off of the PDF that I'm looking at here, but looks to be approximately 80 feet long.
So you'd have an 80-foot long, 10-foot high concrete retaining wall. I'm not wild about that much concrete, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, not to mention the armoring that would need to be put into place at the bottom of that wall as well. So on top of the big retaining wall.
Yeah, you'd have, well, it looks like you're kind of running out of real estate. Even then, looks like you would still encroach a little bit into the 100-foot buffer zone because that wall has a thickness to it, right? And so you don't have a lot of room there between gradient line, the first gradient line there at 353 and the next one down, presumably 352.
So I guess if we want the wall to completely be outside of the 100-foot buffer, you would cut it back so that you're looking at this 553 elevation here. So instead of a 10-foot wall, is a 12-foot wall to make that happen.
So I personally, I'd rather see a vegetated slope going in the buffer zone.
Yes,
rather than that kind of megalith. Just my opinion.
I would agree with that. But okay, and the thing we're concerned about here is runoff down that grade into the wetland. Is that the concern, David?
And I don't think that was particularly the original motivation behind the deregulation. I think it was more, what if there was ever a failure of the system. I think, as far as, rainwater runoff, just sheet flowing down a vegetated slope, that's not a problem with regard to the wetlands.
Okay. Inflation of that. Okay, right. So 3 meter on the slope. So is there any condition that should be applied here to make sure that the slope is holding to purpose?
Well, I mean, it's in other words, it's constructed as designed.
Okay, so I'm asking this because previously we talked about making sure that the vegetated wetland wasn't being essentially destroyed by runoff from the street. Okay, and here are we concerned about impact to the wetland from there? I think you just said no because the vegetated slope should filter out any sort of runoff.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and there's nothing going in that direction from the parking lot. That's all being handled by the stormwater management system.
Okay.
So, can I ask what vegetation would be selected?
Yes.
Not specifically to the N3, but we don't want to base things that are invasive or things that are compatible with.
Could it be native shrubs, Limhood, instead of say just grass, lawn?
It's not going to be just grass. So let me just flip over to the landscaping plan real quick.
Oh yeah, we have that part. Okay, that part of the landscape.
We could stabilize the slope if you would.
Yeah.
So, as you can see with the hatching shown here, we're actually calling this area to be completely covered with what we call the New England wildflower mix. So this mix does a pretty good job of grabbing a hold of slope and quickly stabilizing. And we often use it for areas that are within, wet area essentially.
Is it planned to be mowed annually or is there some interval that I mean, because there has to be some maintenance, to keep, trees from growing on the slope, right?
I believe for the most part, once it's been seeded, the area that we're really concerned about is this upper area here, where we have, essentially a flat area for the breakout grading. So this area would potentially be mowed just because you need to be able to maintain the, the septic system itself, as well as getting access to the D box and so forth. But as far as the slope is concerned, that's going to be allowed to kind of grow back and have natural vegetation kind of take hold.
So it can become, it's okay if it becomes wooded again?
Yes, that is correct.
I don't have an objection to it.
No, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
So, is there any reason why we shouldn't be closing the hearing and moving on to discussing conditions?
I can't think of a reason to keep the hearing.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I have a motion to close the hearing?
I move that we close the hearing on 975 Mass Ave.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Great, well, thank you. And so, I mean, we can discuss, so one of the conditions we're thinking of is to make, making sure it's wildflower mix. We'll have some conditions on, the wetland replication area and
Yeah.
how.
I'd like to see a 5-year monitoring and reporting period. I don't know we necessarily have to determine, right now what, how often it's going to be monitored. We can certainly, what the wetland scientist who's hired, I think though, should submit a proposed schedule for monitoring and reporting over the course of the 5 years.
Right.
But we can put that in the condition.
Okay.
So then how do, asking as a first timer on this, so then what are the next steps to move this through the process?
Is to come up with a, order of conditions.
Okay.
With all the conditions that we'll put in. We have some boilerplate conditions.
Okay.
And then there'll be some special conditions, for example.
Yes, I can provide you with some language for the wetland replication.
I would appreciate a little mentoring on this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then this is something that we will take up in our next meeting to review and approve the orders of conditions.
That's what we usually do. That's gonna be in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
You're gonna make the order, right?
Yeah, that's.
We're gonna be drafting, but Mary and Ian can, obviously help you.
I noticed that there's an awful lot of boilerplate.
Yes, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But what we just discussed here is a unique condition. of
Right.
This
Section
5-year
of
monitoring,
the-
right?
Yeah.
Right.
So yes, again, I'm just looking for a little bit of guidance here.
Right, and of course, when we discuss it on, what is it, December 3rd?
Yeah.
We can tweak or, there'll be there is an opportunity for tweaking or adding.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Before we finalize.
Okay, and then and we can do this collaboration through the Boxborough email, the town email.
Yes, I mean, then a quarter is involved.
Yeah, so maybe just deal with David and Mary and Ian,
Yes.
and that will avoid a quorum.
Okay, good.
So
That's perfect.
The motion was to end today's hearing and continue on December 3rd.
No, so we closed the hearing, we've actually closed the hearing, it's over.
No more continuances.
So no more continuances, and so we're planning on issuing an order of conditions at our next meeting, December 3rd.
And I am responsible
And
for
yeah.
producing the draft.
And Steve will.
That is.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Sorry, just have a quick question. I understand that we closed the meeting, but would us or the applicant have a chance to review the draft order conditions? We just want to make sure we're able to kind of go through it with the applicant. Would we have that opportunity to do so prior to the next meeting?
I don't see any reason why not.
right?
Yeah, usually.
We'll share that with you, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how soon we can promise that we'll be able to get it to you, but I don't have an issue with sending a draft to the applicant.
Yep, that's right. And
Even the day before would be great.
Yeah, Lim Hook. I'll try to have them to you the Monday prior to the meeting.
Okay, great. Thank
So
you.
December 1, that is.
Okay.
All right,
That works, thank you.
well, thank you, Limon.
Thank you very much, Lim Hook.
Have a good day,
night.
everybody.
November the 3rd.
Just one other thing, Lynn, if you could please email us or email Ian a copy of the landscape plan. So
Yeah, we don't have that.
have
That's a good point. We don't
I
have
guess
that.
I guess while I'm at it, because I know we've done a lot of electronic submission. Ian, would you like I guess 2 physical copies of kind of everything all together so that we can have records of everything?
Yeah, are you speaking on behalf of? Are you speaking specifically for the Conservation Commission?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Include and be sure to include the landscape plan as well.
Will do.
Yeah, it's in the Dropbox, but I forgot to include it in my print packet for Mary that I emailed her today. That's my apologies to the commission.
Because we might want to think as well, maybe monitoring the landscape plantings in the buffer zone as well. But we can talk about that more.
Okay.
Great, okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So why don't we go on, we are gonna get to the Suasco Sisma Small Grant RFP. But before we do that, let's take up the request for the extension of the order of conditions for Enclave. And that is, just to remind everybody, they are taking down the access road from Mass Ave that led into the Enclave. And there are some issues that have come up in terms of what they need to be doing about that. And their order of conditions on the property expires in December. So in order for us to have the time, you know, they'll finish up the project, and for us to actually inspect and see in the spring, are things growing? Is it is it replicated? Is everything that's supposed to be growing? And have they done the right thing? So in order to be able to do that, we need to extend their order of conditions, and I guess we're extending it until December 12th, 2026. So
Well, that's what they're requesting.
so that's a 1-year extension.
Right.
We could go further if we wanted.
We could, and yeah, I don't know if 1 year is gonna be enough. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to 3 years, but I would say 2 years anyway. The way this project has been going.
Yeah, do you want to give us a little extra room?
Yeah, I think that would be advisable.
All right. So I'm going
So I will also I'll also say that I did invite Ted Merchant of Toll Brothers in case there were any questions regarding the request. So thanks for joining us, Ted. I'm not sure if the commission has any, but I'll let them speak for that.
Fair enough. Hi, guys.
You don't have any problems with a 2-year extension?
No, I think we should be able to be done and investigate in 1, but I have no problem with 2. That gives us ample time.
Okay, that'd be 2 growing seasons, right?
Yeah, we would expect everything to be done in the spring, you know, so that we would have 2 growing seasons. That's the idea.
By the way, the work is complete. Now I was out there earlier today, and we have a letter from our wetland scientist that speaks to what was done out there. But again, it does need some growth in there and ensure that it replicates properly. So.
Okay, so we will just change the date to December 12th, 2027.
Great.
And of course, the extension does need to be recorded, which you may already know.
I do, and we can do that.
Okay. Any other questions or thoughts on this extension? Okay, so all in favor of extending
Your motion.
Oh, no, right, yeah. Can I have a motion to extend the order of conditions on the Enclave to December 12th, 2027?
So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye. All right.
Thank you
We
all.
all.
Thank you for joining us, Ted.
You got
Thank you, Ted. So we all have to sign. And there are 2 copies.
And there are, yep, thank you. And I believe I saw David back there. Is that correct?
Yes.
David Barnett.
Yes,
Back
I'm
in.
here. I'm here. Hi, Ian.
Hello, how you doing?
Good.
Usual smile on his face.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so while you're all doing that, yeah, so let's talk a little bit, David, if you don't mind, just updating us on what the opportunity is and maybe some thoughts on what we want to do here
Yep,
for the grant.
love to. Ian, I just thought of this about less than an hour ago. I was looking at what I might, so I just made some copies of the past project winner recipients,
Yeah, great.
which is on the website, which you've seen, Ian, I think probably, or if you, those of us that have been looking at thinking about this.
They're on the SIGMA website.
On the SISMA website, yeah. So it's under, so that's what this, I just snipped the screenshot of this part of the last 1, 2, 3, 4 years, just to give you a sense of what's wrong. The organizations that have been recipients and at the top of each year is the total amount for that year. So 8,080 was divided by those 4 recipients.
That's not much money.
No, so, and then it go down to, but it looks like it's based on looking at the details of all these, it's somewhat, the typical grant is about 1,000, or maybe it might be 2,000, or somewhere in between, and it varies depending on what they're asking for, but primarily, Ian, if you haven't, I mean, this is, sorry, I didn't think to email it to you, but this is just a sense of what's won before, and then the title, you can see the things they did it for, but when Ian and I attended the information session last week, they asked us, and the information is up there, you can put up some of the guidelines, and it was an informative, it was interesting, and I had actually attended it the previous year. I'm thinking about it from BC Trust, but didn't get around to doing anything because it seemed I wasn't ready. It seemed complicated, but so this was the second time kind of I've heard it, and I've jotted down a few things that I kind of sent, I think are what they're looking for, just to give, and then have that lead to what Ian and I have talked about a little bit, but not much, only brainstorming because we wanted to bring it to tonight to get your thoughts, but they seem to be interested in the criteria that they said kind of, I've heard a couple times now is important, is the collaborative approach, is they like, they like that if it's, say, the trust and the Transcom or the town working together, or any other 2 organizations, or even if it's just somebody's a subsidiary, or just there's some collaboration on multiple organizations. That's, and then an educational value of the project is something they specify as important. It's not always required, but I mean, it's another thing they look favorably on. And then definitely, probably the key is the habitat ecological value of the project. And they've stressed, I've heard a few times now that, and talking that it's not just, they don't want it to be looked at as they're just gonna pay money to remove invasives and then leave. It's what's next. And the real goal is preserving and or restoring the natural native plants or natural habitat. So that's just to give you an idea of what they've said. And it has to be part of Suesco, has to be part of the watershed. Either, they did say that if a project is very directly impacting one of the rivers, it gets higher, that it's looked at more favorably, but it's obviously not a requirement. And you look at the list, it's not all there. As long as it's in the watershed, I mean, that's what what makes it okay to, it belongs in this, it's okay to put a grant in.
So,
then
do you think it is, so, can we figure out if the project site must be in the watershed, or if the town is in the, is part of the water?
Well, I think the project site is what you're
It must
talking
be,
about.
yeah, so
But
we do
if-
need to be,
Yeah, we need to look at that and consider the different parcels on our land of their value, have an ecological
I
value.
mean, I don't know that if a project site is located in the Stony Brook watershed, I don't know if that would necessarily be a killer.
Yeah,
That is
especially
the
if it
Merrimack
has
River.
educational value, I mean,
Yeah.
that gives it a broader, but if there's a community engagement, educational value in a broader sense, it would probably still qualify.
Mhm.
But then, so, Ian, I'll say a couple more things and hope that you weigh in and add to, since you listen to the program too, but I just want to stress kind of right up front that I'm wearing two hats. On the board of BC Trust, but then the land steward coordinator, and and as I'm thinking of that, of what's the right way, that I think it's a natural collaboration. I mean, I don't think there's any, it's one team, but there are technicalities, that I see it probably, the more I think about this and after hearing the proposal, and even since I've talked to you, Ian, I'm finding it seems like it would be a stronger proposal that it coming from the town, the land steward, the conservation commission, the land steward, with backing and support of the trust, that as opposed to the vice versa. It just seems like it's more of a townwide. It's definitely a townwide effort concern. It's not just some of the land happens to be trust property, but where the trust is interested is community engagement, education throughout, no matter where it is. It doesn't have to be, owned dirt by us, but so and when I did say to, this session that they asked for our idea, what were you thinking? And he said, we haven't even talked about it yet, but I kind of threw out there, and I'll just repeat, kind of like jotted it down to see if I could remember or say the same thing, but that, there's kind of a three, in the big picture, I look at this grant proposal as, even if we don't get it, it's a good exercise that we're to go through to have these discussions and put something in writing and involve both the town and the trust, et cetera, everyone else. So I think I just want to look at it that way. It's going to be valuable. But in the big picture, there's the Weed Warrior program that Sudbury Valley trustee runs, and I've had a few discussions, and just yesterday I talked most recently with Kristen O'Brien and Jane Maloney on the staff, that they're anxious for Boxborough to become a host organization. It's going to happen. They want it to happen, and they know I've said a few times now that I'm willing to be a point person, if not the point person, and as the land steward coordinator, and I'm coming at it from that angle. So my questions were, well, I've been trained, I've gone to a few sessions now, I've done, what's next? What do we have to do to become certified? And basically the answer is, it's pretty loose organization. They're ready the criteria for, there's a form you fill out, but they already think I and we are qualified and know that Foxborough is serious, and kind of suggested that if we use this proposal as an opportunity to put a preliminary kind of thought about one or three or more parcels that we want to focus on in the way with the Weed Warrior program. And they will send, Kristen probably will come in the spring and do a training session as part of that it doesn't cost anything. I mean, we don't need money, but they want to do that. They're trying to support it and get us off the ground. So.
But is there some sort of form the town has to fill out and send to them to be official, or is it?
There is a form, and it's pretty, I brought it.
Is it to be completed by the town?
Well, it could be completed by the BC Trust, or it doesn't have to be the town.
All right.
But it seems logical to me that in this case, that it would be the concept, the land steward program, the town.
Yeah, right.
I mean, makes sense to me, but
yes,
in theory, it doesn't have to be the town.
I asked what the status of host community.
So the Weed Warrior program is volunteer program that they're trying to encourage people to come and help pull weeds, pull and cut invasive weed, and it's invasive plants. So it's all about controlling the most the highest priority invasive plants, woody and herbaceous, and there's a list of 8 priority, and there's a longer list of 60 or so that are either already on that are current, and others that they're thinking about, or, that are, initial thought, thinking, looking at, and probably will become invasive or already are showing signs. So that, the whole program is about getting manpower, bodies to help physical as opposed to chemical, physical pulling weeds. You have to be a professional spray herbicides, but the weed warrior program is volunteer effort to supplement that, or to there's several examples of around the towns, the regional.
Are we doing anything about Phragmites in wetland areas?
Yeah, there's projects that they're SB Suasco, SISMA, and others are certainly trying to tackle.
They're creeping in big time on the wetlands adjacent to the estuary.
Yeah, I was just there a couple days ago. Yeah, there's definitely, but so I mean, the point I want to make is the weed warriors seems to be a logical, developing, saying that as part of this proposal. Here's our thoughts. Here's our initial. And here, we're moving forward, and that's going to happen whether we get a grant or not. It's not what we're asking for money, 1,000 or 2,000 for, but then what we might ask for money. What do we ask for money for? Is where it seems to me that in addition to that, make sure it's clear to them that we're establishing, we're planning to get a weed warrior program, which automatically includes education, community engagement in it as elements of it, because it's trying to market, spread the word that we're starting this program. And BC Trust could certainly would want to play a role in common ground in every other way we could to promote the fact that there is a program being started. But then that hire a consultant like Oxbow or any other that to develop a long range management plan would make sense to me. At some point that should be done. It could either be done, develop a plan for one parcel like Steel Farm or Rolling Meadows, or it could be ultimately it's going to be needed. So maybe in this proposal we could say that that's the plan, but we could even ask for $22,000 for that first to hire Oxbow. Or I'm just saying that because we're working with them.
Like if we focus on one parcel or a section, do you think that's $2,000 is a reasonable amount of money for somebody like that?
Well, Liz, you had asked me when we did, DC Trust did hire Oxbow 4 years ago to do a plan for Beaver Brook.
And how much
it was $2,500 to do the management plan. Well, now that did not include doing it. It was just going to the plan, not implementing it.
The idea is if we had a plan, then we get the weed warriors, or we get,
It seems logical to me to say that and get it both from somebody that what could we do with. We need to put a dollar amount for the grant, but it could be. I don't think we should put more than 2,000 because it seems like that's about the.
Well, here's the other thing. Is there any reason why, if we got $2,000 for a management plan for managing invasives at say Patch Hill, or because I think we do have to have a discussion over which properties.
I want to get to that. Yeah.
Watershed, and really make sure that we know.
Yeah.
But is there any reason why we couldn't use some money from our own account to like $1,000 to if it turned out to be $3,000 and we got $2,000, I don't see why we couldn't.
They do ask
to
to
do it.
In the instructions, they say, would you be willing to take a partial? If the budget is that, you have to put a budget, and would you be willing to take partial? You could say yes.
Of course.
We're asking for 2,500 or 2,000, and they only want to give us 1,000. Do we take it? What do we do with it? If we'd have to say. I mean, I think the trust would step up too with some money, or both the town and trust. We have.
Yeah, I think that's really promising.
And then the final leg of the 3 stools is the educational interpreter, community engagement part of it, where I think particularly the trust would be natural to be lead from that, whatever that is. It could be to ask for money for, if it's not for the consultant, they ask for money for signage or materials or other educational or tools like a weed wrench or other tools that we meant to do to supplement the Weed Warrior program, that adds up, so we could also ask for that. Those are, but it seems like it's pretty important to right up front, as soon as there's funding from some, whatever source that is, to develop a plan with the right kind of consultant. And concurrently ratchet up the Weed Warrior program. That's gonna happen based on what I feel like their SVT is willing to do. And I'm willing to take a lead role in it. I mean,
I think there are
anxious to do
people,
that.
just based on, I just think there are a number of people in Boxborough who would be happy to be called upon for, you know, some targeted invasives.
Yes.
Yeah.
Management.
I've heard people that, I know I'm.
Yeah.
I'm charged like a crew of that too.
Yeah, I just think, one of the examples of the Weed Warrior program that I think is really obvious, and I think Boxborough could also take advantage of it, is in Littleton, they do the garlic mustard. And so it's growing along all the roadsides, and they have gone and they got a picture of the garlic mustard that they just put, stick into the ground, and people just come and they pick garlic mustard on various areas around town.
That's a good one.
But this could be this would be not in the roadway. I don't think we could do it. It'll be on a property. So our big question, I know we talked about
Parcels, yeah.
we do need to verify that Steel Farm is in the Salesco watershed, because it doesn't look like it is.
Oh.
Unless,
Oh, so
Oh, it is, yeah.
I thought,
well, is this orangey base?
That's Stony Brook.
That's Stony Brook. Well, where's,
Everything
That's
else is-
correct.
everything else is Salesco. Okay, well.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
then maybe
Steel
that's-
Farm is right under Picnic Street here, you can see. And
Yeah.
I'll point out Picnic Street is right here.
Oh,
So
wow.
it does look like a majority of Steel Farm is not. It's in Stony Brook.
Patch Hill is far right.
and then
Yeah, I would,
the other, I mean, Patch Hill and Rolling Meadows are the
Yeah.
other two high up, where
Yeah,
that would
agreed.
make sense to start with Weed Warrior.
first of all, I would say, in the spirit of full disclosure, Chelmsford Conservation Commission will be submitting an application for one of these grants.
Should we wish them good luck?
However, certainly I'm a resident of Boxborough. I think Patch Hill is an extremely high priority.
Yeah, because I think from the habitat ecological value, it's definitely a higher.
Yeah, and it's areas of it, as you know, are a total mess.
Yeah,
Are a total mess.
yeah, and in Rolling Meadows too, I think, I mean, those are my two favorite, I think have a lot of value, whether it's officially on the biomap that way or not. I mean, you walk around them and they're both large, with a lot of wonderful woodland and a mix of
But
meadows.
I think the bittersweet is a lot worse at Patch Hill,
Yeah.
and I think it's going to be a much
Yeah.
harder challenge.
And I think,
That would be would you think that would be the thing?
Yeah.
That would be my choice.
would you Patch Hill over Rolling Meadows or?
Yeah. I think Rolling Meadows, you just get a bunch of volunteers out there,
Yeah,
for a couple of days, and that's
Okay,
something
but-
I've been thinking of talking to you about.
yeah,
I
'cause
think you can make a huge amount of progress, but at Patch Hill, I mean, it's, especially to say that bittersweet is just so bad.
and it's primarily along the edges, but it's encroaching. We need to make sure it doesn't get any further into
It
the
is
woods.
getting into the woods, and
And-
that's a huge concern.
Yeah, and I think I've gone to three different sessions with SVT and where there's a tour and they're showing different projects they're doing, and it seemed the common theme is they're prioritizing by ignoring the places that are already beyond, there's a population so dense and so heavy of burning bush or you name it, that that's not where they're tackling with volunteers or others, but the adjacent areas to try to prevent it from spreading further. They're where the invasives are present but scattered enough where it's still manageable and they're pullable, and the whole point is to not let the populations keep spreading. So with that So I think both Rolling Meadows and Patch Hill and Steel Farm all qualify, all have a terrible infestation that adjacent is some nice land, land that we could do all of them eventually if the Weed Warriors gets off the ground and there's enough people involved. But
Yeah.
the only reason I had also thought of Steel Farm is it's such a heavily used,
Yeah.
Town.
But maybe
It's
that's
so many
just not with
events
this
that are
grant.
there would lend itself to community engagement, but that could be done
Yeah, just not with this grant,
all around the town.
something else.
Yeah, I think the higher priority parcels are from
I mean,
ecological point of view.
In some way, and this would not be the year, because I guess we're doing the hot fire station and God knows what else.
Yeah,
But I do think we should think about maybe the following year, putting a warrant article out for having an invasive management plan for, just get town money. And maybe we can pick 2 or 3 or whatever number of parcels to get comprehensive, management plans.
Yeah.
In terms of just invasive management plans.
so we could,
Cause I just think that,
Yeah.
that would be,
Okay.
that would be costly, but I think the town would support it. Maybe not this year, just because
yeah,
there's so much else taking up our money.
but we could get started with a parcel for
But we
$1,000 or
can-
$2,000.
Yes, or we can start with a little section of a parcel and,
Yeah,
yeah, I like that idea.
I'm definitely for it, and is it the case that once you have a plan in place, then you can just use that as a template for other properties? Because if it's like,
yeah,
if you say that Bittersweet is going to be the template, right?
yeah,
And we're going to target it at these 3 properties, well, you've got to train people once, or train the trainers. Here's how you deal with Bittersweet. I know, you pull it out, damn, it's work. Right, it seems like the stuff just grows back, maybe I'm doing it wrong, right?
no, there's,
If I was,
there's no good way.
if there's training on how to properly eradicate this thing, and then we can just start doing that. You don't have to hire people to tell you,
Yeah,
you need to pull a
you still use the
bolt.
same techniques wherever it is.
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
once you know how to, yeah, that's true,
Yeah,
yeah.
because it seems kind of, this is partial ignorance speaking, that you would need a professional to give you a plan for every single parcel if you know that here is the way you address a bittersweet. Here's how you do that. Here's how you do garlic mustard, which is pretty easy because.
And how you follow up to make sure it's not going back.
It's still not we use horrible stuff.
I wonder if we could get, one of the things I was thinking though is also to have, maybe a private, like, identify the key problem areas or,
Yeah, that's how I would see the consultant is
right,
what
just
are
sort of
the,
like, what are the,
here's what we're looking at, what are the,
Yeah.
where would you start? Or,
Yeah.
and then, what would you think,
In
what would
what
that
order?
person think is the most biggest bang for the buck with volunteers and other
Exactly.
signs?
And then what do you do? So what I've heard here is that there are places in Patch Hill where we're waving the white flag and said, bittersweet is one, they're not going to do it.
Well,
We said that.
I'm not.
We haven't said that yet.
I'm testing this, right? Because it's like, okay, we're going
We're
to try
giving
and
up on,
contain
we're
it.
giving up on, what is it,
Burning bush and
that's
beaver
still
brook.
going.
There's one area that I would
We have
go
nothing.
around it and do with the rest of the property, but it's so intense, so
Okay,
populated there.
we can, we have other things, let's,
So do you,
so I will, do you want,
actions.
do I work with you because David's working on a rival application? I don't think we want.
yeah, we don't want him to
see
know what
ours.
we're doing. Now, but I really want to stress, I think the value in it is the exercise here if we don't get the grant.
Right.
I think it's a really good
Cause it's a very small.
exercise to do, but talking to Ian, he said, he has some great thoughts too, that I don't know if added, but I'm certainly willing to work with you.
Oh, yeah,
and
actually, Ian, are you, what's your thoughts about, the grant?
No, I think everything you guys have been saying is great. I think it's really important for us. I'm on the side of, how do I write this thing to encompass what you guys are talking about, but also to make a really compelling argument so that we have a good chance at winning this thing. I think what I'm saying is what's been said. if we emphasize the fact that this is a collaborative effort between the trust, the commission, the town, you could also even say SVT is included in this if we're using their program to some extent.
Yeah.
You can also say if it is Oxbow that we want to find a way to work with in this, whether it's using some of this money or matching some of our money to essentially assist us with training or educating this Weed Warriors group, and then enacting some of these invasive species removals. Just looking at the CPA application of our ledger, we did invasive management at Whitcomb Road for $500, and as well at Patch Hill at $750 not long ago. So it seems like these amounts are definitely within the range of this grant, what we should be asking for. I think it'll be smart for us to emphasize collaboration, emphasize our ability to match their funding to some extent. And I think with what we've said, we can definitely put together a strong application. To hopefully.
So are you going to take the lead on that? Is that what I'm hearing?
Me?
Yes. Are you?
As long as I have a lot of support from you and David, definitely
Okay.
David. I think we can definitely do this together. But I can definitely help and or be the person putting the actual application together. I'm sure Alec's going to want to take a look at it. He's really, really experienced and talented at writing grant proposals. So yeah, I think we definitely have really great options here.
Yeah, I would love to go that route with writing it, and I'll provide any support and information and knowledge and whatever else I could provide. But I think that's the logical way to go rather than do it from the trust or other different.
Yeah. Okay,
I think
that sounds
I'd love to
great.
do it that way.
So why don't we have it so that Ian, because I'd also like to be involved, because
Yep.
so maybe the three of us can get together sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we have a December 19th deadline, so we're gonna be what he does.
Right.
I'll look at my calendar tomorrow, but I'll be around next week in person. Some days to meet, maybe early next week. But I'll let you guys know what might work, or we can wait until after the holiday. But yep, all right, sounds good.
Well, thanks for bringing that.
What was the deadline?
December 19th.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that to our attention, because I think that'll be excellent.
Yeah,
rather so not a little bit more money, but
I know, it does seem like a really small amount, but still.
they said, they do have 8,000 again this year. I think that's what everybody said, so it's similar to last year. But that's total to be divided up amongst whoever they decide to award.
Everybody get the ball moving for people to start.
But I really think it'll be a valuable exercise.
Yeah, well, thanks so much, Dave, this is really great.
And David, and Madam Chair, I didn't want to jump around too much. This had come into my inbox today, specifically asking about the conservation land maps. The select board is asking for an update. I was wondering if we had one to provide at this time. I know that it had been on maybe our last meeting. I think it was exactly our last meeting.
I think it was longer.
Well, we did.
No, that was longer ago, right?
We did talk about it.
Trail maps.
I think, when I was here at the last meeting, because I don't think you met in between, we did talk about it. Didn't reach any conclusions, but it had just come up. The reason it came up is because the select board asked, Sam brought it up, and then said there's outdated maps and what are we gonna do? We should support, he was saying they should support the Conservation Commission in whatever way they could. And so Kelly Price followed through and asked about it, and she just did again today and sent another email to me and.
Well, I gave you some You Are Here maps that we do have.
Yeah, but I mean,
I remember now.
Yeah, it's just update the maps in the kiosk, information.
Yes, okay, and I was gonna look into what Chelmsford does.
Yeah,
and I did do that, and it's very, very interesting. There's a company that can, I don't know what the exact word is, but scan and put an image of a map or an aerial photograph on aluminum.
Oh, cool.
And that makes it virtually permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's our problem,
It's like laser.
is they get, sun and, rain damage, no matter how big the laminate, you know, I
Yes,
use it,
yes.
heavy duty.
But I can forward you the contact information. It's not that cheap. This company charges $80 per map.
Is
Yeah.
it color?
That.
Is it
So they
color?
could give us some money,
What's that?
Ian,
Color?
we'll get back to them, and
Yes,
they give us
yes.
some money.
You can take a photograph
Yeah.
and you know, color photograph, and somehow they're able to put the image on a piece of aluminum.
Yeah.
It's
And-
laser, but it's so cool.
But I think we're kind of ahead, or I think what might be the opportunity with the select board's interest, support, and Ian and Alex technical capacity, and there's a guy on a commission that has a mapping background that I would love to just take, you know, schedule another meeting to see how we could all, it's not just how to preserve the maps, but what should the maps, there's an opportunity
Yeah, I
to
think
take
we were
new
gonna sit
technology.
down with Ian.
Yeah, and you know, and what, you know, what else, you gave me, like, what other layers, biomap or other, I mean, maybe it's better to focus on digital with the
Or the QR
barcodes.
code.
It's, or some, you know, probably ideally both, but I think it's a great opportunity to just step back and have a bigger picture, what is the goal, and then
Yeah.
work on the details.
And it's nothing we need to commit to now, but I will say, if you're saying it does cost some money, we do have some money. I think there are definitely some groups or people within the town that want to see us using that money more. So it might be a good exercise, a good practice. Not only for that, but of course for upkeep of our trails and trail maps. Yeah, I'd be interested in that option, David, if you could send that along to me. So I guess would it be correct to respond to this and say that the commission has been discussing this over their past 2 meetings and plan to have a broader discussion going into the winter months, and yeah, I mean we'll have more to show for following kind of the plan we make, but as of right now we don't have a directive plan. We are planning to plan.
Yeah.
Right, because do we have a Perkins Woods map? We don't, do we?
I don't believe so, no.
Well, Tom Bieber did it used his phone, and, you know, the trail is marked. I gave it to Alec, and it's in Alec's hands, and maybe it's done. I mean, Alec was incorporating it into and maybe Ian knows more, but I mean, he's the physical part out on the ground was done.
Right.
Now it's got to be converted into whatever form it takes to produce a map.
Yeah, because
So
just for everybody to know right now, what is on the kiosk, and they're not all, you know, they get lost and all that, but what we have been posting and and replacing when they disappear or get damaged is, if you go to our the trail maps on our can you
Our website?
no, but Ian, can you go to our website and just pull up a trail map? It's because when you check, you can actually click on the trail. There's a map that shows all of our trails, and you click on the property you want, and it comes out with a PDF of the trail.
Oh, yeah.
And I just print that out and laminate it.
Cool.
and you put a URL spot.
And put a "you are here" and whole thing. Very tedious. People still have no idea where they are.
So I think there's technology that will make that process easier, probably, if we.
Yeah, so if you
decide to
just
use
click
it.
on one of those properties.
Rich.
Oh, no, on the map itself.
It's so good.
Yeah, see, that's what,
Anybody that is.
so that's what would be on a kiosk at Half Moon Meadow right
Makes
now,
sense. That totally makes sense.
okay?
But I don't see you are here.
Well, no, because I do that
It's the
myself.
website.
Oh,
Yeah, but see, I know there's this technology that exists that you could electronically put an arrow on a map these days, but That's, you
It
did
is,
just what you were
it's,
doing.
it's PDF, you know, editing, you know, you just put
Yeah.
this.
Playfully, like just simple.
Yeah.
But the thing is, people do still find, and then we did actually, we had I added little, cards where you could go onto a website that, you know, that shows you where you are, but maybe the QR codes.
Like,
Well,
So
there's,
that you can, so that would give you a map on your phone
yeah,
that follows you in real time. Cause not everybody has all trails, you have to pay for that.
oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, I think we should do both, have updated physical maps, but also have use the technology that exists.
Yeah, I mean-
Use it.
Right, yeah, exactly. Somewhere we could just have a QR code.
And if-
on
We
this.
could do that in like a day,
If,
literally.
if, I mean,
I don't know.
Ian, I can use my position as land steward coordinator
Yeah.
and coordinate, I know who the volunteers are, each stewards of each land to say, go put this out on the,
You know, just
we can get them out there once they're produced, but, the getting them produced is where the rest of you all come in on what should we produce
Okay.
first before we.
Yeah, so rather than put the old things on, maybe
Yeah.
we
no,
have
just put a
something here.
QR code if you're doing it. Put a QR code to this, right?
But yeah, so it's fair to say,
You know, I'm wondering, is a QR code really what you want, or is it, you
I
want?
make a suggestion, because I hear what you're thinking out loud, but I think what we need is that meeting
yeah,
that we said we were gonna have with Ian to look at, evaluate content, presentation format, and update procedures for trail maps,
Yeah.
and make recommendations by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
because one of the concerns I have, because I've been working with these maps for a long time, is, you know, is it too much, you know, are some of the trails confusing? Because there's a lot of information on the maps.
Yeah.
We've got wetlands, we've got stone walls, sometimes we have houses, so, you know. It's,
so I think we should send Ian out or whoever, or anyone else out that has never walked the
Oh
trail.
my gosh,
And
right.
they
No,
can
no,
say,
they
find
can
your
tell
way.
Honestly, I don't think we have too much information, but I
Yeah.
think the symbology could be improved. I think we
Yeah.
gotta get offline and work
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah, I
Would
I'm
you-
looking at a very bare bones, art map type,
Yeah.
formatting, and I just think we can improve that.
Yeah.
okay, great, yeah, would you guys want to?
Yeah, I would love to
meet on
get together with Rich
Ian?
and Ian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just haven't done
Yeah, so,
Okay,
it.
all right, let's get our butt on
Good.
Yeah.
chairs, Rich, and
Don't be there, do it.
we'll do it. But that would be, and then Ian, you can, I mean, since Kelly just sent an email, but I think you too, Liz, and.
Yeah, I'll give
you
her a
and
brief
Ian, now
update
we
and
can
just say
wonder
that.
what- Yeah. So now we can report that this discussion's happening.
okay, yeah, there we go,
Yeah.
check and check.
So Liz, before, I don't know if there's one more thing I wanted to bring up.
Oh, yeah,
before
one more,
you
sure.
Excuse me, or I leave, but that I had Carla Briggs had sent you and Mary email about the invasive trees. I have it printed here. I
Oh,
don't,
right, right,
It
yeah,
was
was that
couple
on,
weeks
is that
ago.
under correspondence?
I don't know, I mean, she had sent an email a couple weeks ago or so, and I don't know whether you ended up, it's from the trust. It was from the BC trust. This is.
I don't remember.
I'm sorry, and I didn't. Since it was emailed, that I'm following up on that. There's the version of, I can summarize is that we have an invasive plant. We've been working with Oxbow Associates for 4 years now. Well, 2022, the plan was produced and we've been working on it since on the invasive plants in Beaverbrook Valley. And Scott has hatched and squirted this 3 Norway maples. 2 of them that were small died.
Yeah.
The big one isn't even thinking about dying, and it's just going strong. And so we're proposing, this is a request. I was out there with Scott.
Oh, this is a
Twice this
question to
summer.
take it down.
Yeah, we're proposing to just cut it down and to remove, because it's the seed, there's seedlings everywhere. It's especially when
They're just so hard.
it was covered with poison ivy and other things in the summer, but in the picture that was attached there, but in October, when everything else, leaves are falling off, and the Norways are hanging on longer than, they're yellow, the Norway seedlings are everywhere under this thing, so we're concerned about, we want to remove the source for future seedlings, and then there's a whole other issue of controlling pulling, we could use the weed warriors or another to pull the seedlings, but
Yeah,
that's, so it's a request to get your, just to
I think,
inform.
yeah, do we have to vote on that? I think we're just saying yes.
Do you need the commission's permission because it's in the buffer zone?
Yeah, well, and we, by the way, had
Or do
also
we have a
asked the
CMS?
the state National Natural Heritage Endangered Species Program, we asked, Carla wrote an email to them the same day as to you, and we just heard, we got a response this morning that it's okay, they're approving us going forward, because it is within the buffer of the wet area right there, and so they just approved it today, so if I could go home tomorrow, ArborWorks is, the proposal we have is from ArborWorks, so Acton.
So are they gonna go out there with a chainsaw or something?
Yeah, I went out there with him, he's gonna walk out, there, no equipment other than a chainsaw, and just cut it. Just rock with a chainsaw, but drop it, no equipment, no trucks or, no tires marks, cause he's gonna walk out there, carry the chainsaw, cut it down. But it's a little bit tricky for us, for the steward, there's a couple of hangers, we were worried of trying to do it as volunteers.
So just leave it there.
We're just gonna drop it and leave it and not, just clean it up enough to be able to get around it.
I'm fine.
It's $650 and trust is ready to
We
spend the
don't
money.
really need to vote on it, do we? I mean, we'll tell us no, and say, sounds good.
But I guess,
I should,
I was
I'll
concerned,
respond
you at
to
least,
it.
yeah.
I
can you
think
just put an
I'll
email,
respond.
put an email trail and we'll put that.
Yes, I'll
in
put an email trail.
there. It's just like, that's all just from them.
So are these attachments, are these sort of like status reports, updates on?
Well, this was the, Carla, I think, included the original, the proposal for this year, which did not.
Well, but it also says the invasive plant control report 2024.
Yeah, so.
I think if that could be forwarded to all of us.
Oh, yeah, we have reports now for the last 3 years, and we don't have this year's yet.
That'd be great to see.
You wanna have all of them?
Yeah.
Because then it's, it'll be inform everyone on where to go forward with Oxbow or somebody similar and the rest of the next product, whatever we do going forward.
Yeah, this would be a model project.
Yeah, I've enjoyed, Scott is good, and certainly I would recommend Scott.
So are there Phragmites out there?
There are on but it's not on BC Trust. It's not on Beaverbrook Valley, it's on our access. Where the access path is.
It's our problem.
And it's town. There's, so it's not part of the trust's property, but it's an issue that should be addressed, so yeah.
Yeah, that's.
Right.
So just for the record, the issue is taking action to cut down
a tree. What's Norway
maple tree in the buffer zone. And we are allowing it.
Yours, several minutes, that's it's the version, or I could send it to you.
I think you just need that.
Yeah, that's all I need to do.
And it's
There's already a
it's Beaverbrook Valley Preserve.
Beaver.
Beaverbrook Valley Preserve.
Well, thank you. You have anything else you want?
No, I think it's been good. We got a lot covered.
I look forward to meeting with you, Richard, Ian.
Likewise.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Likewise. Thank you.
And Liz with you and Ian on the proposals. So.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right.
Yay. Well, thanks so much, Dave.
Thanks for coming.
All right. Thank you.
Hi.
Thanks for the support.
Should we talk about airport vegetation management?
So they want more, and we don't have any questions or issues. Right?
Or
What?
So the airport vegetation management, they seem to be saying, we already responded saying we don't have any questions or issues, and they're saying, okay, but how about something that says you're okay if we go forward, right? Is that the issue at hand?
they don't need anything from us.
I don't think so, but it's
They're asking.
That's what I thought. Did I misread that?
Just a report.
Did we actually get the yearly operation plan update?
Yeah, it's here. It's been effective.
What?
Yeah, we got the whole big thing.
We got the yacht.
Yeah.
Oh, is that just now?
I'm pretty sure we've seen the yacht before.
It's the, it's the op of the VNP.
Yeah.
So
Oh, when does it run out, this management plan?
So there's
Oh,
this
good till
email,
12/27, okay.
and then there's this email on Wednesday, 5 November. That the final paragraph is saying, through an exchange of emails, Mary had indicated that the commission had reviewed the IACU and had no questions. On behalf of the airport, MassDOT respectfully requests notice from the commission that the airport may proceed in continued vegetation management under the IACU through the December blah, blah, blah. So they're asking us to actually say, yes, give you our blessing. This is how I read it.
Well, see, I know for a railroad, or vegetation management and railroad rights of ways, they have to file an RGA to approve the 5-year plan. I don't know if that's the same situation with vegetation management at airports, which of course are under federal jurisdiction as well. Although I keep seeing the reference here to, Massachusetts regulations, but I don't see anything about filing an RDA.
But how did they've got a plan that's from 2021 to 2026, so when was that? That plan must have been agreed to.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing an RDA for that. On the other hand, that's a number of years ago.
If it's you can't, the acronym REA.
Request for determination of applicability.
Okay.
It has an airport vegetation
Oh, okay.
management plan.
Let's see, I'm not. I mean, they are mentioning wetlands here. Massport had submitted a generic environmental impact report for tree clearing in wetlands at all Massachusetts public use airports. So one could consult the GEIR, see if there's any mention of an RDA in there.
Well, Stowe issued an order of conditions, so they must have done in 2006. This is just some history. So there was notice of intent at some point, at least in that town.
Well, that's almost 20 years ago.
I know. I'm just saying, yeah.
The update attempts to conform to the agreed upon vegetation maintenance methods in the town of Foxborough. What are those? Review of the permitting history and pertinent correspondence between the airport and BCC is necessary for implementation of this yacht update in Foxborough. So in 2006, 2007, the two municipal conservation commissions issued 5-year reports of conditions for vegetation management in Minuteman Airfield, which would have been long expired by now if they didn't get extensions.
Yeah, I don't seem to reference anything more recent. But there must be, I remember big brouhahas, but that was a while ago.
Yeah, there was kind of a brouhaha.
Well, they started cutting down trees, but,
Oh, right, I remember that.
Yeah, my recollection of when we discussed this, we agreed that looks nice, but I don't see that we really need to act on this. We just said we had no, questions or issues. And now they're coming back to this email, addressed to Ian saying, well, we respectfully request a notice from the commission that they may proceed.
I think it's more out of courtesy that they're doing that than anything else.
which is appreciated.
Yeah.
Yes.
So doesn't Liz just have to reply and say,
I mean, yes, if we do.
I think proceed.
Okay, I see.
It seems like we don't even have to say that we approve, we
Yeah,
just
say
say,
just
you may
like-
proceed.
Yeah, you may proceed. Cause they're doing continued like I mean, they're telling you all the things they're gonna do, they're doing like mowing. Cut and chip and some, trees that have grown into or within 10 feet of the protected airspace surfaces.
That was wild, it's.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no problem with giving them. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see any particular downside to that.
Oh, well, you don't want to cut down trees in Boxborough, like where we're milling.
It's a very long-standing practice in Massachusetts for all airfields to have a vegetative management plan.
That's right.
Absolutely,
And-
for safety, yeah.
And-
Yes,
That's right, in the area in which Foxborough is implicated, is relatively small, here, it's right at the end of one of the, as I recall, it's the right edge of the map.
Right.
It is. Yeah,
And so, yeah,
We used to have a couple of residents though, that were just all over this.
Well,
Canfield.
yeah, but there was one time when they started just cutting down trees.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, without a plan.
So please don't do it.
Right.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so planes don't hit them, but, yeah, there's always like, how far do you go with the?
Well, they, as far as I can tell, they're repeating in this, over and over again, that
Yes,
they will conform to the agreed
Yeah.
upon plan that goes all the way back to mid 2000s.
yeah, oh, yeah, that,
So,
I feel that,
Yes, I'm okay.
we don't trust him, but. Okay, so.
All right.
Are we?
I
agreed
will
that-
respond,
give you
give
no-
them
Okay, yeah.
permission to proceed, and I will leave it at that.
We need a motion.
Do we?
No, you don't, as we're not. It's simply correspondence, really.
Yes,
Okay,
what's the next step? So that's the airport vegetation management.
Yep.
It's sort of, yeah, we're probably a little late, but here's our final, our community renovation committee final application for CPA.
Yeah, I know it's, what are we at, 9:30 now? Almost, we're pushing 9:30. So I'll try to keep this, very brief for y'all, but, this is a very rough draft of a presentation that likely Liz will be giving to the CPC. I know that of all the applications, ours seemed to raise the most questions. We did our best to put together a strong application without pigeonholing ourselves to too many funding commitments. This is exactly how we plan to use our CPA or our trust fund money in the next couple of years. And obviously, as I have kind of mentioned in talks with Alec, have identified possible future funding. So I met with Meredith Houghton, the regional coordinator at SVT, to discuss the strategy for increasing our funding. And a key point we discussed is that federal funding for climate and conservation is increasingly uncertain. And because of that, Massachusetts is preparing to invest more heavily at the state level through initiatives like the Nature for Massachusetts bill, the Conservation Land Tax Credit, Mass Ready Act. There's a couple strong ones there. So as the state investment grows, these programs are going to become more competitive because they're offering more money. and municipalities that can provide a strong local match fund are gonna be the ones that are more well positioned to secure that money. So that's one of the big arguments we're making here is for Boxborough to remain competitive and eligible for these grants that already exist and could be existing in the future. We need more liquidity and a larger reserve in our conservation trust fund. On top of that, a more data-driven approach, we talked about identifying priority parcels in our town. So over the coming week or 2 weeks, I'm going to be working with Meredith. I'm going to be working on some data that the BCT, their land, they have a new focus group. Their name I'm not entirely sure, but Steve and David, one of you guys went to the meetings. One of you guys sent me an Excel spreadsheet that identified a lot of parcels in town and their owners and essentially priority parcels. And so I'll be using that. SVT has a similar data set that I'll be using, looking at land use, habitat, trail, acreage, ownership especially, things that have recently fallen or owners that have recently passed away, owners that or land that might soon be available.
You're looking at nice.
And so yeah, the main message, increasing the trust fund now will position us to better take advantage of these upcoming conservation investments and remain competitive for grants, as well as be able to secure important lands when those opportunities arise. So I put this together today and last night, and it's definitely not pretty, but it's got all the information that's needed. So we can go through this slowly. I don't think I need to read what's on the screen. It's essentially what I was just saying. But if you guys see anything, you want to add anything, please let me know. If you find anything that might be helpful to add or rephrase. Again, this is just made, so it's definitely far from its final form. But Liz, did you have anything to add from our meeting we had on, was that Monday?
No, just yeah. So this seems to be that they want us to, like, if we were going to get a grant, having our own pot of money would be helpful. I guess that.
What I started is you're right. You gotta have money to get money.
Yeah.
I just heard, right?
Another thing is if there are several properties out there now who there may be opportunities where we would want to do some evaluations as to whether we wanted to recommend that the town buy them, and that costs money too. So if we had to do that for both the Richardson and Cruzen and Morse properties all this year, I mean, that's if we needed to, do what do we usually do?
Appraisals.
Have appraisal surveys.
That kind of due diligence.
They've been cleaning our person.
Yeah, due diligence for whether or not that we would want to move forward and try and buy the property. So so you need money to be able to do that.
So
yeah, I think two other things is one of the biggest criticisms that our applications got is that we haven't spent a lot of money. I think in our presentation definitely stressing that we have a lot of these opportunities that we're saying will give us an opportunity, but we mentioned the conservation trail maps. We have done. Sorry.
I'm sorry. What do they mean? We haven't spent a lot of money. How much money?
Sorry, we haven't spent much money in the last 2 years. I think is what they were pointing at. 2 or 3 years, since our comprehensive since our open space and rec plan, we've only. It's on page 7 of 8 in your application packet.
Okay, yeah, because the thing is, how much money do we have now?
We do have $46,000, and the committee did point out that is the the highest amount we've had, just by a small margin. But like we said, I think our arguments here outweigh that argument of us having the most money now. I think you'll look at the facts. What Liz and I have talked about, like a smaller argument, is that every time we do make a larger purchase, we get around below $20,000, which really ties our hand anytime something big like Perkins Woods comes up and we need money for legal fees and
let's just review. We've been getting money, $10,000 since 2010. Is that correct? So that
since
2010 and it is now 2025. So how is that 15 years?
Yes.
Yeah. So if we hadn't been spending any money, we'd be having $150,000 in this account. Is that correct?
So we've been getting money from the CPA since 2018. Before that, I believe there were just warrant articles allocating free cash.
Oh, I'm sorry. But the point is, I guess we've been spending, because we used to get 10,000, whether it was, we would get 10,000. Is that correct? Oh, no, we would get 5,000.
Yeah, 5,000. And then in 2019, it did become 10,000. Yeah, I think we've also said that it's likely this is a 1 or 2 year off increase just to position us to act on any of these new coming state grants or opportunities, and then returning to a smaller amount, but obviously not mentioning that directly in the application to not tie us down to anything that we can't commit to. But
what really needs to be emphasized, Ian, I guess maybe without mentioning any specific names, is that there are some properties, there are some really important properties from a conservation perspective that might become available tomorrow, and that we really need to be prepared to act.
And how much does it cost where is it, how much to do a due diligence on a property? How much does that cost?
Well, you're looking at an appraisal.
Yeah, so let's just say appraisal, is that like 5,000?
Probably more than that at this point, probably between 5,000 and 10,000. Really should do a title exam. Again, that's highly variable as well. That's easily $7,000. So I don't think that it would be outrageous to say that you would need $15,000 in upfront due diligence costs.
Yeah,
just for an acquisition. This is certainly of 10 acres. With
yeah, I think that's our and we have several properties that could could come up anytime. Yeah.
So,
but then they would say, of course, and
well, then I think you have to say that this town has historically really supported conservation land acquisitions and
that's true.
land protection.
Well, we could also talk about our maps. Our map upgrade. Which I think also would that count? Can we use CPA funds for map upgrades for conservation? Yeah, that's making improvements to your conservation.
Yep, and I believe we have that already under in our last decade and a half of spending on page 7, somewhere in there.
Yeah, map upgrade.
So based on what David just said, so with the budget, with the current balance we have, we could do like 3 appraisals of 10 grand each, and then we have 15K left in the bank. That's not a lot to act on anything.
And then let's just say for the sake of discussion that town meeting approves an acquisition. then that brings in a whole bunch of other pre-acquisition costs. You know, especially if you're applying for like a land grant, there are costs that need to be incurred, you know, in order to be able to make that application. So where's that money gonna come from?
Yeah,
Also, a big thing that I had just realized is you know, this is a FY 2027 application technically, and our open space and recreation plan expires in 2027. So,
Yes.
you are kidding me.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a 5-year,
Oh, it's only 5 years?
2023 to 2027. I just had it.
So what's that, like 15 grand?
It'll probably be a pretty robust update instead of, I believe, what we had was a new plan. So it won't be.
Is that true? Because that's $30,000+.
Yeah, that was
Really closer to 40, I think, especially if we want to do a 10-year plan, which they do allow now. I'm really surprised if it wasn't at least a 7-year plan.
Okay, so what I think I just heard is we're going to have to plan on like a $20,000 or $30,000 spend.
That's our big, that's it. We're there, guys.
Yeah, that's it.
That put us over. That clinched it right there.
Yeah, and just to be clear, if this money comes out, this is going to end up as a warrant article in the next ATM.
The CPC request.
The CPC request.
Yes.
Okay.
And out of that, and the open space plan, we would just fund it out of our own fund. We wouldn't have to go to town meeting for that.
Okay, so I guess I'm a little confused on how where the money's coming from. So CPC is a separate pot of money than
CPA funds are that little, you know, you have a little 1%, I think it's 1%. Surcharge on every tax bill.
Mhm.
That gets into its own little pile. That's the CPA funds that the CPC oversees.
Okay, so that's not an ATM thing then.
No.
It's a petition to CPC saying, guys, as one of the, big stakeholders in conservation and open spaces in Foxborough, we need to do these things. Please give us some money so that we can.
Yeah, but we have to go to town meeting for that.
Right.
We do have to go to, we have to first go to the CPC, the Community Preservation Committee, to get approved, to get even on the list.
Right.
Okay,
And then they will take the list of the projects that they approve and that they have verified are eligible for CPA funds, and they will take those to town meeting.
and then that is one big bucket, or is that subject to a line item veto at the?
It is, usually they try and do it like they bunch them up and under a consent agenda, but if anybody objects, each one of them is a standalone project
Okay,
that you have to be ready to defend. But this is the first defense, is getting the CPC to agree to our 25,000.
okay,
That's the first hurdle.
thank you. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was wondering how that all
Yeah,
tied together.
right.
Okay,
And the CPC may approve it and the finance committee still.
Yeah, so
yeah,
they,
sure.
yeah. They won't, I'm sure they won't, just because it's, it's more than we usually get.
And
And all we'll have to do is that means we'll just have to make a presentation at town meeting as well. And I think we have a good story, so.
And yes, and Ian's point about having to redo the plan
Yes,
is really.
Yeah.
that's it.
I did not know it was expiring.
I feel like it was only yesterday.
It doesn't help that it was published a whole year after it
Oh, that's right, you were in between, that's what it is, I was working with one planner, then another planner, and then.
Oh, yeah.
It was quite, remember.
David, is that new? Is that recent? The 10-year?
Yes, this year. Or
Oh,
maybe
okay.
this year was the first time they've offered a 10-year plan.
Well, that's good news for us, obviously, but yeah, I know. I just realized that, and I mean, it seems like a no-brainer for us, but obviously, yeah, Liz, we can work on this presentation that I have. I just need to make it pretty and probably reduce some stuff and get us a script or talking points to go after.
Yeah, well, thanks. Yeah, well, you just, tomorrow when you come in, just send me a couple of of your dates and we can get together and hash it out.
Sounds
But
good.
thanks
I'm working from home tomorrow and Friday, so it might be next week or the following week.
Yeah, okay, sounds good.
Thank you, Ian, that's good work.
Oh, yeah, awesome. Okay, so that's that. Hopefully, is this all we, I do want to say, we have what do we get? We got a notice of intent, for 272 Depot Road.
right, yeah.
That's the,
Caldwell.
it ends with a B.
Brian.
Who used to live there? It was a big brouhaha. Burton, Buxton, the Buxton.
Buxton, yes. You guys have that printed?
Do we have it? Do we have a copy of it in our packet?
No, I didn't do it.
I did not recall seeing it.
I don't know if it was like the quality thing.
What the name?
Oh, notice of intent, yeah, Phyllis and Roy.
Yeah,
Is it, so who, this is a reviewer copy and we were thinking since you were here when the Buxton, can you do it or no?
I'm really not straight.
Oh, you're not.
You're what? I can't do it.
Because you're across the street, yeah, and you're doing 675. You're sort of early, so I guess that leaves me.
What are they?
They want an addition.
Yeah, oh yeah, do you know, yeah, what are they proposing to do?
They want an addition and move
Oh, that's right, they're doing something with it, they're tearing down the garage. And then building an attached garage.
Sort of, yeah, it's like that.
That might be simple enough for Rich to get started.
Well, yeah, Rich, you and I want to.
No, Mary was out today, I think, for.
What exactly would I be doing? Are you doing that packet?
Yes, we would be reviewing this packet and, actually, yeah, and,
And by the way, what's my deadline?
No, you'll do it with him, right? You'll show him?
yeah, and December 3rd is when the hearing is. But, that is when they come to us and explain everything, and then we ask questions, and we can keep continuing it until we are happy. I'm happy to take that lead on it, and, we'll see how that goes. All right.
Yeah, and I'll say Bill Murray went out there today. I didn't get anything back from him, but I know he went out to walk the site today.
Okay.
And yeah, I believe
This is in the buffer zone, apparently? Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. Part of the footprint, I think.
Will you be walking the property, Liz?
Yeah, but I probably do. Yeah, I'll include you, yeah.
Shadow.
Mentor me.
Yeah. Okay. Is that all we?
I can run through our last piece of correspondence very quickly. 31 Eldridge. Sue and I went out there last week. The summary is there's debris, yard waste, disturbed soils within the buffer zone. She recommended getting this cleaned up and stabilized. She said given this time of year, wood chips would be sufficient. 2 tractors were parked in the lawn. She recommended moving them off. And then the stone filler strip on the edge of the driveway needs to be flattened and regraded to ensure proper drainage, and especially during the winter months, no ice buildup where cars may be parked, separate from obviously conservation concerns. But yeah, so use tractors here, machinery there, and this is the area that she was talking about needs to be
Wood chipped?
Yep.
Yeah, have we communicated, so are we going to communicate with the owner?
We spoke with the owner and we said, do those 3 things. He has a chance to come back early December, mid-December. But yeah, so we'll see.
Okay, all right.
So this is actually just an FYI for us. There's no action.
Yeah, it was correspondence. We didn't get Sue and I went out last week, and I didn't realize it wasn't brought up to anybody's attention on the commission. So when she sent this today, I figured I'd include it as correspondence.
My recollection.
Mary asked me if I wanted, places to go out, because it was the night I was.
Yeah, my recollection is they were supposed to plant some trees.
Or anything on site, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah, let me see if we can find it here, because they did plant trees. They were marked. I'm not sure if they're on this, but we did find the planted marked trees. Trying to.
Well, I think they need to be added to the as-built. Oh, that looks like them. Down just below that, we have that plan here.
Oh, these.
Yeah. Looks like that might be them. Well, I think they need to be added to the plan if they're not.
Okay.
I'd be a little bit surprised if they're not there.
Sorry, what's that, David?
I think they were supposed to plant trees, as I recall.
Yeah, I think so too. No, maybe we call it blueberry, right?
Yeah, maybe those are shrubs.
I don't remember.
It's like, I went there with you and Norm and Bruce and Jace was there.
Jace was there, I remember that.
Yeah, and it was like kind of chaos world there. Remember all the trees down?
He might just plowed everything down.
Yeah.
But the plantings, whatever they are, the plantings should be called out on the plan.
All right. I will let Limhut, I believe, was actually the one that put this together.
Oh.
Okay, well, I see installed planting, typical. So do we have like a species list anyway?
Yeah, I think they were included. They were included in what Sue and I brought in the original, I think, project narrative. The order of conditions themselves refers to the project narrative. The species list in the project narrative. So I'll be sure to include those. Reach out to Limhut, have him plot these.
Okay,
but they did include a species list that Sue and I had to dig up before we went out there.
Okay, well, if you could get on that, Evan, Ian, I would appreciate it.
Okay. So Ian, I'm just gonna leave this signed extension on the order of conditions up here with
Alec will be able to grab that tomorrow. I'll make sure, him or Mary. Actually, probably him, but
okay.
I'll be in Monday. If you did want to set something up to meet, and that includes you, Rich, if David wants to meet then. But yeah, I'm at home for the next 2 days, caring for family.
Okay. All right, well, I have a motion to.
I just want to quickly report, so I'm keeping an eye on the Beaver Dam. It's closest to the Sergeant Road crossing. I've noticed that it seems to get breached before, rain is predicted. And I don't know, I don't know who else besides the railroad could, be doing it. I have, the name of a contact, for someone at Keolis, but I want to keep, an eye on it, a little bit longer before I, get in touch with them.
Okay.
So just to let them know that they need to be working with us.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what else it could be. I don't know who else would care. I mean, there's certainly no houses around.
Right, yeah.
Well, the Pierce family sort of the nearest ones.
Yeah, but they're downstream, so I don't know why they would care.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Thank you very much, David.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I moved to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Oh, what? 9:46.
Oh, a long time.
I hope you want.
All right.